CEO went undercover as a janitor. What he found shocked everyone. In the quiet edges of Atlanta stood Grayson Tech Industries, a company admired for innovation, efficiency, and spotless hallways. From the outside, everything looked perfect. But behind the clean glass windows and polished floors, a rumor had begun to circulate. A whisper that something had changed inside the company. And not for the better. Daniel Grayson, the CEO, had taken over his late father's company 5 years earlier. With his sharp mind, calm leadership, he was widely respected as a young black executive carrying an empire on his shoulders. But lately, Daniel's inbox had become disturbing. Anonymous emails, carefully worded complaints, all from employees, all saying the same terrifying thing. Something is wrong here. Some spoke of bullying managers, promotions deliberately blocked, and workers threatened into silence. One message, however, sent a chill through Daniel's spine. If you want to see the truth, stop watching from the top floor. Daniel understood immediately. So one Wednesday evening, as the building buzzed with late activity, he made a decision no one could have predicted. He walked into his office, removed his suit jacket, and opened a small bag he had prepared only for emergencies. Inside was a navy blue janitor uniform. He stared at it for a long moment, memories of his father flooding his mind, whispered softly, "Dad, I hope you'd understand." He changed clothes, tucked his dreadlocks under a cheap cap, scuffed his boots with dust, and stepped into the hallway. No more "good evening, sir." No more recognition. He was invisible. And that was exactly what he needed to be. The night shift had just begun when Daniel entered the janitorial supply closet. 3 workers turned to look at him. Their uniforms were worn, their eyes heavy with exhaustion. "You the new guy?" the woman asked. Daniel nodded. "Yeah, Daniel." He paused, then corrected himself. "Daniel Smith." "Well, Daniel Smith," she said, tossing him a mop. "I'm Aisha. That's Craig and Manny. Stay close if you don't want trouble." "In trouble? For mopping a floor?" Daniel asked. Aisha laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You'll see." Within minutes, Daniel sensed something was wrong. The workers moved too fast, constantly glancing over their shoulders. They avoided certain corridors and stiffened whenever an elevator chimed. Fear clung to them like a shadow. Then Daniel saw it. A sign taped to a trash bin near the break room. "Janitors are not allowed to use employee restrooms. Violate this and lose a week's pay." His chest tightened. His father would never have allowed such a rule. "What is this?" Daniel whispered. Manny let out a bitter chuckle. "New management rules. Courtesy of the operations head, Mr. Barton." Daniel froze. Richard Barton. A man his father had hired years ago. A man Daniel had always distrusted, but never imagined had grown this powerful or this cruel. Aisha tugged Daniel's sleeve. "Come on. If Barton catches us talking, he'll dock our pay again." "Again?" Daniel asked. "You'll understand soon," she replied. Later that night, they reached the executive floor, Daniel's own floor. The glossy tiles and expensive artwork felt unfamiliar now, colder somehow. As they worked, a shadow appeared at the end of the hallway. Richard Barton stepped forward. As cold as steel. Daniel's blood ran cold. Barton's gaze swept across the janitors and locked onto Daniel. "You," he barked. "Yes, sir," Daniel replied. "Why are you standing?" "Now." Daniel obeyed, forcing himself to kneel and clean his own hallway while the man responsible for so much suffering stood above him. Barton leaned in and whispered, "I don't like new faces." If you want to keep this job, you stay silent, you stay fast, and you stay out of everyone's way. Daniel nodded. Good, Barton said, walking away. As soon as he disappeared, Aisha grabbed Daniel's wrist. Be careful. Barton has cameras in places even security doesn't know about. If he thinks you're a problem. She didn't finish the sentence. Over the next 2 nights, the truth unraveled. Craig had worked at Grayson Tech for 8 years and never received a promotion. Barton kept losing his evaluations. Manny worked double shifts but was paid for only 1. The system always malfunctioned when he clocked in. Aisha once worked in administration, until she reported harassment. Barton reassigned her to janitorial duty, calling it a lesson in humility. Daniel listened, shame and anger battling in his chest. This wasn't mismanagement. This was abuse. Calculated, cruel, intentional. The people who kept the company running were treated like disposable tools. And Daniel realized something painful. He had been blind. On the 3rd night, Daniel pretended to mop near a restricted closet Barton always kept locked. When Barton stepped away, Daniel acted quickly, slipping a small pin device into the lock. It was a hidden surveillance room. Screens covered the walls, displaying live feeds of hallways, offices, and break rooms. Every conversation, every complaint, every whisper, legal, moral, terrifying. Daniel recorded everything on his phone. Then a voice thundered behind him. What do you think you're doing? Barton stood in the doorway, fury blazing. He stormed forward and grabbed Daniel by the collar, shoving him against the wall as Aisha and the others arrived. He's new, Aisha pleaded. Then he's fired. Barton snapped, raising his hand to strike. That was when Daniel caught his wrist midair. Silence fell. Daniel straightened, removed the dusty cap, and looked Barton in the eyes. No one puts their hands on me, he said calmly. Or my employees. Barton's face drained of color. Daniel Grayson, he replied. The man who signs your paychecks. Gasps echoed through the hallway. The next morning, Daniel stood before the board in a tailored suit. Without a word, he played the recordings. The mistreatment, the threats, the surveillance. When it ended, the room was silent. My father built this company on dignity, Daniel said quietly. I failed to see what was happening. That ends today. He turned to Barton. You're terminated. That afternoon, Daniel addressed the entire company. He spoke honestly, promised reforms, accountability, and justice. He apologized. And the room erupted, with applause, tears, and hope. Within weeks, Grayson Tech changed. Cameras were removed. Stolen wages repaid. Promotions restored. Aisha returned to administration. Craig became head of maintenance. Manny finally received the raise he deserved. And Daniel never forgot the nights he spent invisible. Because he learned the truth his father always knew. The heart of a company isn't its glass walls or polished floors. It's the people who clean them,